playing Dark Souls today. It's a game that always reminds me of my dad. Oh, he passed away. Died, right, 15 years ago, almost 15 years ago. But today's his birthday, so I'm gonna make some rant videos and play some Dark Souls and think about my dead dad. Uh, I hate to admit that, my dad dying definitely, it definitely made me a better, kinder person. Um, he died when I was 22, 20, 23. He died when I was 23. I was already, it always hurts to lose your dad, but it's not like I was, a little kid or something. That would be the worst of it about. We only had a couple good years together, though, unfortunately. You know, my parents got divorced when I was very young, and when I was a little kid, I think he just kind of didn't know what to do with me. So I'd go over for weekends and stuff, but he didn't really know how to do anything, right? Like, didn't know how to do anything fun, so we would just, order pizza and watch football or something. Really not stuff that like a 7-year-old wants to do. But ironically, when I got to be about like 9 or 10, he got to be a little bit more of a tender, loving dad type of person. Ouch. My poisoning on. Eesh. The reason Dark Souls reminds me of him is because when he died, it was 2011, late 2011, my friend had bought me Dark Souls, and I didn't really want anything to do with it. I wasn't much of a fantasy fan back at that time, so I didn't really care all that much about it. I did like a good video game. So I went about playing this game, and then he died in January shortly thereafter. So I was unemployed too, which wasn't great. After college, slump, just working crap jobs for crap money. So just played this game a lot in my grief, so it was hard to come back to it. Playing Dark Souls in my grief. Nice, crazy game to get lost in. Yeesh. Gonna kill me. Sucker. I turned 8 years old, and I ended up having a good, 8, 9, 10. Ended up, I don't know if he just wasn't trying before or what, but we ended up having a couple good years there before his alcoholism took a took a pretty dramatic turn for the worse. His second wife was not amazing to him or me. Um, just mean, nasty woman. But we had a long, miserable trip through rehab and everything. That hit me. It's coming back. Okay. This be any better. You know, and that's part of the existential dread I alluded to in my previous videos. He had a hard life, and he just couldn't. Had a hard life growing up, and turned to alcohol to solve problems that alcohol only makes worse. I just have a lot of dread around my dad being in hell, you know, for eternity. Now that's a different thing, that's a different topic for a different day. You know, if there's no God and there's no heaven, then there's no justice outside of, you know, sentimentality and opinions. So it brings me some degree of relief, I guess, to believe that his life was a real tragedy, you know, that his life had real value and real meaning, and not just a bad thing that happened to me, but you know, losing him, his life, his hard life, and his tragic death, that it wasn't just a bad thing that happened in my life, but that it was a bad thing that happened, period, right? That there's God and the cosmic justice and the cosmic mercy, you know, fighting for him, I guess, in the afterlife, since he got such a bum turn of things in his one go at it down here in the world. But I do hate to admit that his dying probably, I mean, it definitely made me a better, kinder person. I just noticed you know, I'm still like a very judgmental and, you know, high standard sort of whatever, mean person, mean, disagreeable person. But I was even worse when I was in college. I was a real dirtbag, just a pompous. I think a narcissist. I think I was a narcissist. I probably still am, but I just try to be kinder now. Try to be a kinder, gentler person. Go back down here to Demon Ruins. Does I have to beat Seath? I have to beat Seath, and I have to beat Gravelord. It's nice to have the Sun Maggot to play Gravelord. Who else is left? Side of Chaos, of course. I think that's it. I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry that my dad had to die to make me a kinder, gentler person. But in in some real ways, I owe my happiness that I have to him in a real way. Because if he didn't die, I would still be a mean, miserable person, and I might not have got the life that I have right now, which makes me very happy. My wife and my children make me very happy. In a real way, I do owe it to him. He had to die. My father had to die to make me a better person, make me a kind person, make me a merciful person. Seeing him, knowing that he endured the kind of life that he had. He was still always very much in good mood and for the most part, treated people right and treated people fairly and was just happy to get along and happy to have a good time. Yeah, 26,000. Um, his he got out of rehab in 2008, and it was very very formative experience for me watching him go through that. I do feel bad that I never went to visit him when he was in jail. I was in college. He was in, I think, just county jail for whatever, the things you do when you're drunk. Then he got out of jail and went to rehab, spent like maybe a year. He meant spend like maybe a year away, and then went to live with his father, who was not an amazing situation. But he was able to have a real life and stay sober the whole time he was up there, way away from home. But just one of the craziest things I think that ever happened to me was we were out getting pizza, right? I knew that my dad was coming home. Right, he was coming home from rehab. And his whole ordeal. And I was 19, and my stepdad he had a good job, but we didn't go out to eat very much. My kid brother was very young, so we just didn't go out to eat much. But we decided to go have pizza at a place in town where I grew up, because he had some family in town and we wanted to do something special. So we go to this pizza shop, and I purchased two baseball gloves and a baseball to play catch with my dad and catch up on a couple lost years of time, because basically wasn't around. He was in and out of jail and rehab and all kinds of other things when I was in high school. So I really hadn't seen him very much for about 4 years. Just one of the craziest things that ever happened to me in my life was we went to this pizza place, and I was ready to go visit my dad, in the next day or two. Um, and we go order pizza and we sit down on one end of the bar restaurant. And there on the other side of it is in the bar side, right? We're seated at the restaurant side. And on the bar side of it is my dad drinking. I was like, oh man, I finally got my dad back. He's not, he's sober now. Craziest thing that ever happened to me was seeing him in that bar. I just figured, what are the odds? What are the odds that he goes to drink at that bar? What are the odds that he goes to drink at that bar the one time in probably 3 months that we've gone out to eat? Very low. Very crazy that happened. Sometimes I wonder if that was divine intervention. Right? It was providence that I should see my father there immediately, not even back home for a whole 24 hours and already back at the bars drinking and doing stuff he shouldn't have been doing. That made me very sad for a long time. We did have a couple good years there, though, me and my dad. My stepmom used to run these craft shows, like these local craft shows. So, to the age where I was able to help them do some of the light woodwork and do cuts and sanding and stuff like that. There was one summer where he was picking me up. I was on summer vacation. He was picking me up before he went to afternoons. He would get on afternoon shift. Must have been 11 or 12 or 13, but I was old enough to be home alone. Finally. And he picked me up from my mom's house, from the apartment where I lived with my mom. Oh, this guy. And from there, we'd spend the whole morning together. So, run errands with him and just do father-son things. We'd always make sandwiches, make like these big ham and turkey and salami monstrosities. It's like, this is how you gotta pack your lunch when you get to be a grown-up. Like, oh, cool, Dad. Show me how to make a good sandwich. Because for a long time, all I did was I went over to his house and I just kind of waited for the weekend to be over so I could go back to my mom's house and enjoy my life. But I'd hide up in my room and play Nintendo 64. Me being a dad now, I do think of it in a little bit of a different light. Where it's like, hey, you're the grown up. You're the grown up dad. You should have been the one to make an effort and do things together. think he was just kind of a low agency person, a low agency mentality, low agency personality, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, IQ gap or something. I beat this guy. What goes on here? Oh no, let me down. What the heck? So, in some ways, I'm a little bit more harsh on him. Not that I'm a dad, but I am thankful for the time we had together. That was good. We had 2 good summers there where we were spending a lot of time together during the summer. Like I alluded to earlier, he became like a softer person as I became older, ironically. But I miss him. I do think about him every day. It's such a cliche, but I think about him every day. I think about how I don't want to leave my children in that position. Wishing they could go to their dad for advice or those things. Sometimes I'll think like, oh man, I gotta call my dad and tell him about this whatever thing that happened. But of course doesn't happen very much anymore. But it used to really sting when that happened. So, whatever. Yeah, thanks for listening.